So when you became president in 2022, 22 million people's lives were in your hand. So how did you prepare yourself mentally to take up such a big responsibility and to bring the country back up to the place where we are right now?
I didn't prepare myself mentally. I've been in the game, and you know your responsibilities. If your country is in trouble, you have to help it out. So I took over. As long as there are people to support me in parliament. You know, we're in a peculiar situation. UMP had come down to 1. But I came in a situation where others didn't want to take responsibility. And everyone else was asked. So finally, I was not the first choice by any means. I may have been about number 4. But I thought it could be handled. And we have to go ahead, stabilize the economy, and work it out. So that's what I did. You haven't got to make yourself you must be ready for it, and you should be take it. If you're not ready for it, then you shouldn't be in the game, that's all.
Jaffna Valpetiturehe, Seaview, boating, party hall, luxury rooms, Indian restaurant samakin, Venasma Vidihe Attekimakata, Jaffna Northern Point, Village Hotel, Oba Venumenmai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. We can move on to the next. Please tell me your name and you may ask your question.
Right. I'm Dilshan. So my question is, you mentioned about how the Indian continent and China was powerful at some time. I believe that was mainly during the agricultural revolution. Then came the scientific revolution where different other empires and countries became powerful. Then the industrial revolution, digital revolution, and now I believe that we are in the AI revolution. So as you mentioned, the power is moving towards Asia. Do you genuinely think that at a time like this, Sri Lanka will genuinely have a chance at going through a transformation? And if so, where do you think that opportunity is?
Well, you all have to decide whether you want economic transformation or not. We brought the Economic Transformation Act and a lot of other things, but in the election that were rejected. So you have to see what the present government is going to do. But whether you want economic transformation or not lies with you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And we do have another question from this end. Can I please know your name?
I'm Ramitha Sirivardhana from Sri Lanka Law College. So my question is, there has been a considerable discussion regarding the extending of the retirement age or the tenure of the judges. And what is your view on this proposal, and how do you think it will affect the independence of the judiciary, the public confidence, and the administration of justice in Sri Lanka?
At the moment, there's a big controversy, as you all know. And most of the legal professions have come out against the extension, because extension, you serve for 65 years and they don't want any other extension. It's the government that seems to want to push it. I don't know how much of support there is for it. That's the issue, that from what we can see, even the judges. So how much are you going to risk? And the more government pushes, they may be compromising the neutrality of the judiciary. So it's now up to the government to decide what they want to do. But if they want to go ahead, I think there's going to be more and more opposition to it, both in the political sphere and the non-political sphere. That's what I see. But since you're in Halsdorf, you should be able to tell me better.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
I think we have a question from the front row.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for taking this question, actually. My name is Yashani Fernando. I am a very junior level researcher, and I studied sociology. So you very accurately, I think, talked about how we have an aging population. And also you talked about AI, how it's going to be that when it comes to human capital and the labor force, quality is going to matter a lot. Now, my question is, during the economic crisis as well, what I saw from your leadership is not just the fact that we had a great economic plan to get through, but also a lot of diplomacy and political skill was involved. So I think going forward, when we're dealing with how we take in AI and how we educate the population so that we have a better human labor force, what kind of a political direction or what kind of leadership do you think will help us to navigate this problem when we want to face these issues in the future? So basically shrinking population and better quality laborers actually. Yeah.
Economic transformation doesn't depend solely on AI, but AI is going to be an important role. So one is that you must have a holistic view of the economic transformation that we want for the country and the transformation taking place in other parts of the thing. Then where are you going to pitch yourselves? We can't go to the very top like China or America. That's out. So decide which level you are there and how you are going to work at it. And that means, and the role it has to play. Then in some countries, as the population keep growing, they can still manage. But for others, what do we do? Also, we are next to India, which is going to be, it's been in the field of IT more than AI, but they will come into AI also. So that's how it works out. Of course, we have one advantage. What is the mind? Intelligence comes from the mind, no? So what is the mind? Read the first verse of the Dhammapada.
අපි ජියෝපොලිටික්ස් කතා කරනවා. එතකොට අපි අප්ඩේට් වෙන දේවල් ගැන කතා කරනවා. මම ඩේටා ඇනලිස්ට් කෙනෙක් විදිහට ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක සහ මේක ගෙනියන අය දකින්නේ ඔය සිස්ටම් එකක් විදිහට. එතකොට මෙහෙයුම් පද්ධතියක් විදිහට. එතකොට අපි අලුත් අප්ඩේට් වෙන දේවල් ජියෝපොලිටික්ස් මේ 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ තියෙන දේවල් ගැන කතා කරනවා. 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ තියෙන හાર્ඩ්වෙයාර් සිස්ටම් එකක ඉඳගෙන. නිලධාරීවාදය ඒ දේවල් එක්ක. එතකොට ලෝකේ ගත්තට පස්සේ ගොඩක් වැඩ ගන්න ඩේටා එක. ඉන්දියා, ඇමරිකා, චයිනා එයාලා ඒවත් එක්ක ග්ලෝබල් සප්ලයි චේන් එකත් ගොඩක් ෆාස්ට් ඒ කියන්නේ ස්පීඩි එක්සිකියුට් කරලා තියෙන එලා ඩිසිෂන්ස්. නමුත් අපි ඉන්න තැන මම හිතනවා ගොඩක් ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ එක්සිකියුෂන් ગેප් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි එතන හිර වෙලා ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒකට අපිට ටෙක්නොලොජි යූස් කරලා අපිට ඒකේ ස්ට්‍රැටජි එකක් අපේ සර්කිට් දකින්නේ සර්කියුට් විෂන් එකත් එක්ක මොකක්ද ස්ට්‍රැටජි එක අපිට ඒක ඒ බොටල් එකේ අයින් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Thank you.
මේකේ ප්‍රශ්නේ 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේද 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේද නෙමෙයි. 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ සිස්ටම්ද 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ සිස්ටම්ස් නෙමෙයි. 19 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ ආකල්පයේ තියෙන මිනිස්සුන්ට 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේද 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේද කියලා දෙයක් නෑනේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ තියෙන නිසා කොහොමද 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයට ගේන්න කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒකයි වෙනස. 19 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ ඉහිර වෙලා ඉන්නවා නම් කොහෙවත් යන්නේ නැහැ. මේවා තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. 21 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේ ඉන්න අයට තේරෙනවා අපි දැන් 20 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයෙන් කොහොමද 21කට යන්නේ කියලා. ඉතින් ඉස්සෙල්ලා ආකල්පේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ආකල්පේ තිබුණාම සිස්ටම් එක ගැන ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එකම ප්‍රශ්නේ කොහොමද මුදල් හොයාගන්නේ මේ වැඩේ කරන්න කියලා.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we move on, we also have a question from him. So, can you introduce yourself and also ask your question, please?
Hello, sir. I'm an Indian origin Sri Lankan, and I'm an educator from Kerala. And what you said was 100% correct about India till now. And Kerala is currently now importing coconuts from Tamil Nadu. And they have shifted their focus from cash crop economy to a service-based economy, where we are heavily focusing on Ayurvedic products, and also we are the highest number of labor for TCS. So my observation is, can Sri Lanka become like Kerala because of the literacy rates? For instance, we were admiring C.W.W. Kannangara's policy when we were young, because they were the first to introduce it after South Korea, I think, free education policy. And now, today, in Kerala, we have 100% literacy rate, but the biggest challenge with Sri Lankan students we are facing is we are getting more binary thinkers. They only know plus, minus, addition, subtraction, but we have very few spectrum thinkers. For instance, ISRO and NASA, we were competing because of spectrum thinking. So one of the education reform we can have within villages and also basic education, especially in international schools too, of spectrum thinking, because the Edexcel and the Cambridge syllabus of British systems are too outdated compared with the Indian and the United States syllabus. Plus also, I believe you are aware that this year India introduced the new education policy where they have 4 years BCom undergraduation program, where they are mostly focusing on training. And most of your ideas are 100% accurate, sir, because I have to acknowledge it. And if you observe, Malaysia and Singapore had the deal where Singapore got most of the resource support from Malaysia. And till now, in the evening, when you go to Singapore, you'll always see Malaysians going out of Singapore border when they come to work. Can we have that culture in the future? Because I think that is the most sustainable policy. And as you were telling, Sri Lankans are always bothered whether India will invade Sri Lanka. The answer is no, because India is in a different vision at the moment. I can say that was around 1975, 1980s, but now everything has become stable. And considering the next 25 years, I see a bright side for Sri Lanka if they invest more on fundamental education, because Sri Lankans are very smart and very intelligent and has one of the highest civic sense in the entire SAARC region. Thank you very much, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kerala, sir, but I'm a Sri Lankan. For the last 10 years, I'm in Kerala. I just came for my sabbatical holidays.
Okay, Sri Lanka, from where are you?
I'm from Colombo only, and I'm from Colombo Central. So my ancestral family is anyway a UNP fan. So I'm also a UNP fan for a long time. And even my university members, I just want to acknowledge it. During the economic crisis, there was a news, I was in India, they were saying Ranil Wickremesinghe has been appointed as the Prime Minister, and the Dean of our university was almost very senior. He said very calmly, he will solve it. And it happened, honestly speaking, and they couldn't pronounce your name properly, and I believe since you have traveled there, you may know the way they pronounce your name, it is Wickremesinghe. They don't say Wickremesinghe, so they said Wickremesinghe will solve it. You don't have to worry about it.
So where are you, Trivandrum or?
No, I'm from Cochin actually.
Cochin.
And also we are based in Bangalore also, because it's a Catholic-based enterprise called Carmelites of Mary Immaculate.
Yeah.
You may be aware that Kerala is mostly governed by the Catholic priests, especially the MG University. So we generally work with that. And honestly, we had a very high expectation of Sri Lanka, because we wanted Sri Lanka to be the next Israel of the SAARC region because of the human intellectual capital. And unfortunately, no one understood your vision due to lack of understanding and communication skills.
So you asked a lot of questions now.
I'm very sorry. I'm very excited.
On the education side, we have to rethink. Look at syllabuses, everything, and give our universities a chance of developing instead of trying to control it through the UGC. Let new universities come in, if some Indian universities or others, and we should have some form of funding the students to go in there, because depending on our income, some the parents can afford to pay, others can't. So that money should not be a barrier for education. Now India is developing, and you will have developed far more on the engineering, other sides of AI. Sri Lanka also can come into that phase and keep developing more and more people. But once you develop them, you have to give them the income that they want. Able to buy a house, you might be able to buy a car, otherwise they go abroad. So this is what is happening even in India. People are going abroad because they think they can get a better deal outside. So we have to, I agree with you on that, what you've been saying on the education. We have to take a completely new look at education. We can be proud that we had this thing, but our education has to get updated.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. I am going to take up the next question from this end. Can I please know your name?
Hello, sir. I'm Rian Javadhan. I'm a 17-year-old schoolboy. So my question is, the current geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and other parts of the world are reshaping the global order. So how do you think this will affect Sri Lanka, and what would you do if you were the president today?
What?
What would you do if you were the president today, sir?
I'm not the president today, fortunately. What you are seeing is a completely, even the whole Middle East situation has changed. And Middle East have become a center between US versus Iran. And it is testing America's power like the Vietnam War tested America's power again. So it's a very uncertain one. Iran is going to take a beating, but if they think they can take the beating, then they can, because what they have to do is a job of sinking ships that go past their shore. America has to knock out Iran. In the process, Iran is hitting others. So Iran feel that they say we close up the whole area. Then what will the Middle East countries do? UAE has threatened, they have hit, UAE has threatened to hit back. But also there is a Shia minority, sizable one in Saudi Arabia and in Bahrain. Iraq is mainly Shia. In fact, the body of the late president was taken to Iraq and brought back. You don't do that in a, it's showing their authority. So it's a big this thing, but slowly America is getting again cornered, like at the Vietnam War, where no one that's really going to come to help them with Iran. So can the American forces alone destroy? If they go to destroy Iran, immediately their arsenal comes down low, so they won't have enough missiles and all against anyone else. So that's one part. Then the rest of the world is dead. So you are going through a very important phase. And how this turns out will have a bearing on the rest of what I have said.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from here.
So my name is Sunera Lanarol. So my question is, in your speech you mentioned about two global issues about this climate change and AI and automation. So my question is, as Sri Lankans, what are the immediate actions that we should take to face those climate change and AI and automation challenges? And if we actually include those suggestions in a Sri Lankan context, what is your predicted GDP by 2050?
Firstly, you have to decide what you want to do for AI and climate change. So those policies have not yet been announced. That is the issue we have. Then for us, GDP is today at about 108, I think, billion US dollars. It's a question of how fast you want to grow. I have my economic transformation, others, we went on a basis of 5% till 2030, 6% till 2035, and 7% after that. You can even go, you should even try and go for 8, because if you are capable of going to 6, you keep going up so that you come close as possible to 500 billion at that time. So that by 2060 you can easily hit $1 trillion or more. You then look at per capita for all of everyone. But if you go at 5 only, you may be somewhere in the 300 billions, 350. Whether that is enough. And we had 5% growth. Remember, what is dragging us down is we have to make repayments. So if we don't grow fast enough, we are going to take more debt. So it will take you down to another crisis. But if you increase your exports, for that you have to get enough of foreign investment. Then you get non-debt creating foreign investment inflows, and you get it, then you go much faster. So this is the choice that you all have to make.
Thank you.
That
Thank
is
you,
a
sir.
question you have to ask the government, not me.
Thank you so much, sir, for that answer. But before we move on, due to time constraints, we are only limited to 2 more questions. And one of the questions is from right back at the our hall, our reception hall. Can you introduce yourself and also ask the question?
Mr. Wickremesinghe, my name is Asela Fonseca. I've been into the corporate sector for some time. One of the issues that we have in the corporate sector is the lack of proper leaders. And when you look at the UNP as a party, I think the lack of leadership is clearly visible in terms of what has happened across the last 20 odd years. I would like to ask broadly, what are the strategies that as a party that you all have put in place to attract caliber that is needed to redefine the political landscape of Sri Lanka through the UNP party?
2 answers to that. Firstly, when others failed in their leadership, the UNP came forward. That's the test of leadership. We may be 1, we may be 2, we may be 3, but we are used to leading. And all of us lead from the front. Now we want a new generation of leaders. So that depends on how you all respond. You all come forward, we'll train you. How did I come here? I have about 40 years or 50 years in politics. 77 I got into parliament. Yeah, next year I'll be 50 years in coming into politics. 72 I started. So the question of a new leadership does come. What you say is there. But so it is now the time for what someone here calls the Gen Zs or newer people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s to come forward and exercise. We have opened it out and we are talking to people, but we have to, lot of our parties are 40 plus parties. Any party I look at is 40 plus. There's about 6.8 million below 40 and over 18. So we have to get our leaders to come from that. Even on the 40 to 50, there are only few. So the whole system requires that infusion. The UNP is looking at that. Secondly, how do parties function? Old days we had branches in every village. It's not possible today to run branches like that. People won't come. Those days when I did 77 elections, there are no electricity anywhere. Even 2/3 of my electorate, though it was Biagama, no electricity. So in the evening, the only entertainment was when we went and held meetings. That was the main entertainment there. Today is different, no? You have your handphone. So in that system, online politics becomes more important. How you communicate, it's a new paradigm shift that is taking place. So the leaders must then come from that. The second part of your question, I can't answer. It has to be answered by the people here.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, අවසාන ප්‍රශ්නේ අපි අහනවා. ගොඩක් කාලයක් ඉඳන් සර්ගෙන් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න බලාගෙන හිටියා. මම ටිරෝන්. ඒ වගේම මේ අවස්ථාව මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න මේ අවස්ථාව නිර්මාණය කර දුන්නට විශේෂයෙන් හරෙන් අයියටයි පසිදු මල්ලිටයි තැන්ක්ස් කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ platform එක හදනකන් ඇත්තට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න අවස්ථාවකුත් තිබුණේ නැහැ. එතකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි සර් එක මාධ්‍ය වැඩසටහනකදී සර්ගෙන් අහනවා දේශපාලනය සම්බන්ධයෙන් සර්ගේ පොත ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක දේශපාලනයට පාවිච්චි කරන ග්‍රන්ථය මොකක්ද කියලා. එතකොට මේ ලෝකයේ හුඟක් අය දේශපාලනයට පාවිච්චි කරන පොතක් ඇහුවොත් එහෙම උත්තර හම්බ වෙන්නේ එක්කෝ 48 laws එතකොට princess the war of the ඒ වගේ ලෝකේ තියෙනවානේ දේශපාලන සම්බන්ධ විශේෂ පොත්. නමුත් සර්ගේ උත්තරේ වුණේ දා කෞටිල්‍ය චාණක්‍යගේ අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රය. අද දැන් මෙතන ඉන්දියාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් ගොඩාක් කතා කෙරුණා. එතකොට මගේ කියවීමේදී මම එදා දැක්කේ අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රය සම්බන්ධයෙන් අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රයේදී අර පොත්වලට වඩා වෙනස තමයි අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රයේ තියෙන්නේ බලය ලබා ගැනීමටම නෙමෙයි. බලය ලබාගෙන මේ කෞටිල්‍ය චාණක්‍ය එකපාරක් කියනවා වතුරේ ඉන්න මාළු වතුර බොනවද නැද්ද කියලා හොයාගන්න බෑ වගේ මේ බලය තියෙනකොට බලය තියෙන අය දූෂණය කරනවද නැද්ද කියන එක හොයාගන්න බෑ. නීති රීති ගේන්න ඕනේ කියන කතාව. වතුරේ ඉන්න මාළුවාට වතුර බොනවද කියලා අපිට කියන්න බෑනේ. ඒතකොට මේ අර්ථ ශාස්ත්‍රය ඇතුලේ හුඟක් වෙලාවට තියෙන නීති, ඒ කියන්නේ රාජ්‍ය පාලනය කරන අයව දූෂණයෙන් තොර කරවීම. ඒතකොට ඒ රීඩින් එක මට තිබුණා. සර් කියන්නේ මේ මූලිකව දූෂණය සම්පූර්ණ නැතිකරන්න ඕනේ අදහස සර්ගේ තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා සර් ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන නීති රීති දූෂණ විමර්ශන පනත්, ඒතර ස්වාධීන කමිෂන් මේ ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා සර් ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන්නේ අපි දන්නවා දූෂණය නැතිකරන්න රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන්. ඒතකොට තොරතුරු දැනගැනීමේ පනත්. ඒ එක්කම ඊට පස්සේ කාරණාවේදී මට තව ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක නෙමෙයි. ඒක මම රීඩ් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. නමුත් මෙන්න මේක තමයි ඇත්තම ප්‍රශ්නේ සර්ගෙන් අහන. මේ දැන් මේ platform එක ආවහම අහන්න තියෙන එක කෞටිල්‍ය චාණක්‍ය මේ පොත නිර්මාණය කරන්නේ දූෂණයට විරුද්ධ වගේම සැබෑ සහජ හැකියාව තියෙන ගොපළු කොළුවෙක්ව රාජ්‍ය අඛණ්ඩ රාජ්‍යයක් නිර්මාණය කරන්න තමයි කෞටිල්‍ය චාණක්‍ය කවුද මෞර්ය වංශික චන්ද්‍රගුප්තව ගෙනාවේ. එයා එතකොට සැබෑ ඒ කියන්නේ අර සහජ හැකියාව එයාට තිබුණේ. එයාව තමයි රාජ්‍යත්වයට ගෙනාවේ. එතකොට අඛණ්ඩ ಭಾರತය නිර්මාණය කරන්නත් ඒක ප්‍රයෝගී වුණා. එතකොට සර් මේ කරන්න හදන්නේ මේ platform එක ඇතුලේ ඒ සහජ හැකියාවන් තියෙන කණ්ඩායම එකතු කරලා මේ රට ඉදිරියේදී අර එදා අඛණ්ඩ ಭಾರತය වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ලංකාවේදී සර්ගේ තේරවාදී ආර්ථිකය සහ ඩිජිටල් ආර්ථිකය කියන කාරණාව ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්නද කියන එක තමයි වෙලාවත් අපි ඉවරනවා. එන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නේ සහ සර් තවදුරටත් කෞටිල්‍යද චන්ද්‍රගුප්තද නැත්නම් දෙකමද මේ ඉන්න කණ්ඩායම හරහා ඒ නිර්මාණය කරන්නද කියන එක තමයි සර්ගෙන් අහන ප්‍රශ්න.
කෞටිල්‍යයත් නෙමෙයි චන්ද්‍රගුප්තත් නෙමෙයි මම රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ. ඒ දෙකක් තියෙනවා. අපි දැනගන්න ඕන කොහෙන්ද දැනුම ලබා ගන්න. ඉතින් දේශපාලනට අපි යනවා නම් ඉස්සෙල්ලාම තියෙන්නේ කෞටිල්‍ය අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රය කියවන්න. මම හිතන්නේ ඒක සිංහලෙන් තියෙනවා කියලා. ඉංග්‍රීසි පිටපත් නම් එතන තියෙනවා. නෑ එතනින් කියන්නේ කොහොමද බලය ලබාගෙන කොහොමද ඒ බලය යොදවන්නේ. එතන හොඳට යොදවන අවස්ථාවත් නරකට යොදවන අදහසුත් උදාහරණත් දීලා තියෙනවා. චන්ද්‍රගුප්ත කියන්නත් විශේෂ තරිතයක්. චන්ද්‍රගුප්ත මහා ඇලෙක්සැන්ඩර් රජුගේ මුණ ගැහුණු පුද්ගලෙක්. එයා කියන්නේ මහා ඇලෙක්සැන්ඩර් රජු එක්ක පෝරස්ට විරුද්ධව රජතුමාට සටන් කරා කියලා. ඉතින් කොහොම හරි ඒ දැනුම ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. මැකියාවේලි කියන්නේ කොහොමද බලය අරගන්නේ? බලය තියාගන්නේ. ඊට වඩා නෑ එතන. බලය ලබා ගන්නයි බලය තහවුරු කරන්නේ ප්‍රින්ස්. මෙයා ඊට වඩා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මෙතන අපි බැලුවේ දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕන නම් කට්ටියක් ඉදිරියට එන්න ඕනේ. ආවයන් පස්සේ උගන්වන්න මොනවද උගන්වන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා. දේශපාලනිකයන්ට අමාරු ගමනක්. සමහරු වැටෙනවා, සමහරු අයින් වෙනවා. 77 අපි ජයවර්ධන පිටිපස්සේ ගියද්දි මගේ මිත්‍ර බොහෝ දෙනෙක් හිටපු අය දේශපාලනයෙන් අයින් වෙලා ව්‍යාපාර වලට නීතියට එම ගියා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ තැන්වල දියුණු වෙලා ආවා. අපි කට්ටියක් මෙහෙම කෙලින් ගියා. ඒක කරගෙන යන්න. ඉතින් මෙතෙන්ට ආවේ ඉතින් ඒ පරමාර්ථය ඇතුව තමයි. කැමති අය කවුද ඉන්නේ? වගකීම් බාර දෙන්නම්. බහැලා දැන් බලමු කරන්න ලෑස්තිද කියලා. මොකද කැපවීම නැත්තම් අර්ථශාස්ත්‍රය මැකේවල කවුරුත් කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ නේ. ඒක නිකම් බලන එක.
Jaffna Valpetiturehe Sea View Boating Party Hall Luxury Rooms Indian Restaurant සමගින් වෙනස්ම විදිහේ අත්දැකීමකට Jaffna Northern Point Village Hotel ඔබ වෙනුවෙන්මයි